we'll have a look at a problem here where our vessel has to load cargo, generally 2 weights, but our angle of list when loading the cargo cannot exceed a certain value. In this sort of problem, the main thing you need to do initially is establish at what point the maximum angle of list will occur. Now in these problems it's always going to be when a weight is being held by the derrick, because of course that affects the GM of the vessel. So you need to look at the situation and decide, well, when are we going to create the maximum listing moments? So it tells here that we're loading 2 weights using our own derrick. Our maximum list is 4 degrees. And we're told the weights are on the quay and they're going to be stowed on deck, either side of the centre line. And the inboard weight is to be loaded first. So I've just done a very rough, quick sketch here. So here's our vessel. Doesn't say whether we're port or starboard, but we've got to load the inboard weight first. So when we pick up the weight, weight 1, we'll create listing moments. We'll swing the weight in and load it. So now let's just, for argument's sake, say that's the port side and that's the starboard side. Once this weight's on board, we've created these moments here. Then at the point of picking up the second weight, we've also created all those moments as well. So we've got a combination of these 2 moments. We then swing the weight over and load it in this position. And of course at that position the 2 values cancel each other out. So it should be obvious that the maximum listing moment is going to occur at the point of picking up the second weight. We've loaded the first weight, which has given us the moments here, and then we picked up the second weight. So we've established that. Now this problem revolves around the formula tan theta is listing moments equals listing moments over weight times GM. What we're expected to always calculate here is the minimum initial GM. The initial GM. So when we look at the formula here, we can see that we can actually work out the GM at the point of picking up the weight and having the maximum listing moments. So in this formula here, we know the listing moments, we know the weight of the vessel, and we know the angle of 4 degrees. Therefore, by moving the information around, we can calculate the GM of the vessel at this point of the angle of 4 degrees. We can also obtain our KM from the tables, because we know what our weight is, and from these 2 we can work out what our kg will be at the point of picking up the weight, the second weight. Once we've got our, if you like, our full weight and our kg at that point, we can then work backwards, take the weights off, and that will give us our initial kg. Once we've got our initial kg, we can get our initial km, and of course GM is km minus kg. So they're the 2 formulas this problem revolves around. So let's have a look how we solved it. So we're in fresh water, we've got our initial displacement, and the maximum here, as I say, is going to create the listing moments of 1037, the combination of the 2 weights. We've got our final displacement, move around the formula, and you can see that the GM at that point is 0.99. We then went in the tables at our new displacement of 14985 and got the KM of 8.33. Because we've got the KM and the GM, we know what our maximum kg will be, 7.34. We then put this into the table. That's our displacement, 7.34 moments. Let's take off the weight that's on the deck, and let's take off the weight that's on the derrick, and that gives us our kg, initial kg, to enable us to have a list of maximum of 4 degrees. Because we want the GM, we now need to get the KM at this new displacement, which is 8.33. Therefore our minimum initial GM is going to be 1.06 meters. So as long as our GM is 1.06, the maximum list that will occur will be 4 degrees. So just to reiterate, really, this problem revolves around this formula here. Tan theta is listing moments over weight times GM. We know these three values, we can obtain the GM, we can obtain the KM at this point, and therefore we can obtain the KG when we've got the maximum listing moment. We then use the table as explained here. There's the table there, standard table for weight kg moments, and we're just reversing the process to get back to the initial situation.